5 years had passed since the day Jae-sung's drill hit metal in the Arctic ice. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Cities gleamed with new technology. The sick were healed with medical miracles. And above Earth, the first human starships were taking shape. Jin-woo stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, Earth's premier orbital facility. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he watched welding robots work on humanity's first faster-than-light vessel. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "The engines are testing perfectly," Mi-young said, floating up beside him. Zero Gravity agreed with her. She'd spent most of the last 2 years in space overseeing construction. "We'll be ready for the first jump next month." Ahead of schedule, Jin-woo noted. In his timeline, FTL travel had taken decades longer to develop. But then they hadn't had a working example to reverse engineer. The door cycled open. Ambassador Ji Ho-nam entered, moving carefully in the low gravity. The older diplomat had taken to his new role with remarkable grace. "The Kreen have agreed to meet with us," he announced. First official diplomatic contact with another species. Jin-woo smiled. The Kreen were peaceful traders, perfect for humanity's first alien alliance. "Remember the gift-giving protocols. They value symmetry above all else." "Already prepared," Ji-ho said. Matching crystal sculptures from Earth and Moon artists. Young-soo helped design them. General Young-soo An had proven surprisingly artistic when not planning planetary defenses. The military man had embraced the idea that strength came in many forms. An alert chimed. Hana's face appeared on the wall screen broadcasting from Earth. "Jin-woo, we've got something." Deep space monitors just detected an object approaching at sublight speeds. "It's not Watcher design," Jin-woo's blood chilled. "Show me." The image that appeared was grainy but clear enough. A ship scarred and damaged, limping through space. It was broadcasting a distress signal in multiple languages. "Refugees," Jin-woo said quietly. "Get me hope." The AI's presence filled the room instantly. "I'm analyzing the signal. The ship is Talari design. Their homeworld was consumed by devourers 300 years ago. This appears to be a generation ship carrying survivors." "How many?" Mi-young asked. "Scans indicate approximately 3,000 life signs. Their reactor is failing. They have perhaps days before total system collapse." Jin-woo didn't hesitate. "We help them." "The protocols," Ji-ho began. "Say to help those in need," Jin-woo finished. "This is why we're building fleets. Not just to fight, but to save lives." The rescue operation took 18 hours. Human ships, still experimental, performed perfectly. The Talari were humanoid, though taller and thinner than humans, with skin that changed color with emotion. They were terrified, exhausted, and amazed to find such young species with advanced technology. Captain Rilani, the Talari leader, met with Earth's representatives on Unity Station. Her skin shifted from fearful yellow to grateful blue as she spoke. "We expected to die in the void. To find salvation from a species not yet century-marked. It gives us hope." "Century-marked?" Dongwoo asked. He'd come up from Earth for the meeting. "Species are marked by their first century of interstellar travel," Rilani explained. "Most die or retreat before the mark. You are only 5 years from first contact, yet you build mighty ships and offer aid freely. It is unusual." "We had help," Hana said honestly, "and we believe in preparing early." The Talari shared their knowledge gratefully. Star maps showing safe routes, technologies for food production in space. Most importantly, detailed accounts of devourer attack patterns. "They consume life force," Rilani explained, her skin darkening with memory. "Not just physical matter, but the spark that makes beings alive. Weapons barely slow them. Only unity of purpose has ever driven them back." "Unity," Sung-ho mused. "That keeps coming up," Jin-woo nodded. "The galaxy's greatest lesson. Divided species fall. United ones have a chance." The Talari were given sanctuary on Earth's moon, where they began building a new home. Their presence changed everything. Humans could see what they were fighting to prevent, the extinction of entire civilizations. 1 year later, humanity's first FTL ship, Hope's Dawn, made its maiden voyage. Jae-sung was aboard, leading the science team. They jumped to Alpha Centauri and back in 3 days. The crew returned exhausted but exhilarated. "The stars," Jae-sung said in wonder. "We can reach the stars." Progress accelerated. More ships were built. Alliances formed with other species. The Kreen brought trade networks. The crystalline shapers shared construction techniques. Even the mysterious void whales, beings of pure thought, offered wisdom, but it wasn't all smooth. Some humans resisted the changes. They wanted Earth to remain isolated, unchanged. A group calling themselves the Pure Earth Movement began sabotaging enhancement centers. Yunji faced them directly. The biologist had become the voice of human adaptation. "We're not abandoning our humanity," she argued in a global broadcast. "We're expanding it. Every enhancement, every change is a choice. We remain who we are, just more capable." The movement faded as people saw the benefits. Children born with genetic enhancements were still children, laughing, playing, learning. Just healthier, smarter, better able to face the future. 10 years after discovery, Jin Woo stood in the same Arctic base where it all began. The site was now a museum, preserved for history. The original team had gathered for the anniversary. "Look what you built," Jin Woo said, gesturing to the screen showing Earth's progress. Orbital cities, terraforming projects on Mars, mining operations in the asteroid belt. "In my timeline, this took centuries. You've done it in a decade." "We had advantages," Mi-young said modestly, but she smiled with pride. "No," Jinwoo corrected. "You made advantages from opportunity. That's different." An alert interrupted their celebration. General Youngsu's face appeared on screen, grave. "Long-range sensors have detected something. Devour scouts, edge of the solar system. They're early." The room fell silent. They had expected centuries to prepare. They'd gotten years. "How long?" Hana asked quietly. 6 months until they reach Earth, Youngsu said. "Maybe less." Jinwoo felt the weight of temporal paradox. By coming back, had they changed too much? Attracted attention too early? But then he saw the determination on his friends' faces. His ancestors, who had become Earth's heroes just as history said they would. Different details, same spirit. "Then we have 6 months to get ready," Dongwoo said simply. "Better get to work." The call went out. Across Earth and its colonies, humanity prepared. Ships launched from dozens of shipyards. Weapons charged with energies barely understood. Allies summoned from across local space. The Watchers returned, their crystalline ships appearing without warning. "You faced the test early," they said. "We calculated you would have more time." "Calculations assume normal development," Jinwoo replied. "Humans rarely develop normally." "Indeed," the Watcher agreed. Was that amusement in its tone? "We will observe. Direct interference breaks galactic law, but perhaps some defensive platforms might accidentally activate near Earth." "How careless of you," Director Sujin Ryu said with a straight face. "We'll try not to trip over them." The months passed quickly. Humanity transformed from a single-world species to a military force. Not large by galactic standards, but determined. The rescued Talari joined the fleet, wanting to strike back at their tormentors. The Kreen provided supply lines. The Shapers built defensive structures. On the day the Devourer scouts arrived, Earth stood ready. 50 human ships, small but advanced. Orbital platforms bristling with weapons. And on the surface, every human ready to defend their world. The scouts were nightmares made real, biological machines that twisted space around them. They swept in, confident, used to easy prey. They found wolves instead of sheep. The battle lasted 18 hours. Ships died. Heroes were made. But when it ended, the Devourer scouts were dust and Earth still stood. This was just the beginning, Jinwoo warned as they counted the cost. "Scouts report back. The swarm will come. Then we'll be ready," Jae-sung said. The quiet scientist who'd started it all had become a war leader, coordinating defense fleets. "We've learned something important." "What?" Jinwoo asked. "They can be killed," Hana said. "They're not invincible monsters. They're just another problem to solve." "And humans are very good at solving problems," Hope added, the AI's voice carrying pride. Jinwoo looked at the stars, thinking of the timeline he'd lost and the one being born. Different but better. Harder but with more hope. "My mission was to warn you," he said, "to help you prepare for a distant threat. Instead, I brought that threat to your door early." "I'm sorry, don't be," Mi-young said. "Better to face danger prepared than to be ambushed by it." "Besides," Dongwoo added with his practical wisdom, "this way we get practice. By the time the real swarm arrives, we'll be experts at killing devourers." The First Stellar War had begun earlier than anyone expected. But humanity faced it united, enhanced and supported by allies, the seed of something magnificent, as the Watchers had said. In the Arctic Museum, a plaque stood by the entrance to the buried ship. The earthquake struck Japan without warning, 8.9 on the Richter scale. Tsunamis racing toward the coast. In the past, it would have killed thousands. But this time was different. In the Arctic Command Center, alarms blared. Jin Woo and the team watched the data streams. Above Earth, the Watcher ships observed silently. "This is it," Jin Woo said. "Their first test. They want to see how we respond to crisis." Director Soo-Jin Ryu, head of the newly formed Global Space Initiative, appeared on the main screen. She had taken control of the worldwide response with remarkable efficiency. "Jin Woo, we need those emergency protocols now." Jin Woo's fingers flew over the controls. The ship's database held disaster response plans from the future, strategies developed after centuries of experience. Sending evacuation patterns now. Deploy the wave barriers. Along Japan's coast, new technology activated. Energy shields built in the last 3 weeks using ship blueprints rose from the ocean. They couldn't stop the tsunami, but they could weaken it, break its power. "Barriers holding," Dongwoo reported. He'd overseen their construction. "But they won't last long." "They don't need to," Hana said. She was coordinating evacuations, just long enough to get people to safety. Around the world, humanity watched and helped. Ships and aircraft from every nation converged on Japan. Medical teams stood ready. The new healing nanobots, carefully produced in small quantities, were prepared for the worst injuries. The tsunami hit. The barriers flashed and flickered, absorbing massive energies. They failed one by one, but they had done their job. The wave that reached shore was powerful but not catastrophic. Casualties minimal, Sung-ho reported hours later. Less than 100 dead. Without the barriers, it would have been tens of thousands. The Watcher ship above Japan pulsed with light, Jin Woo interpreted. "They're impressed. But this was just the beginning. Over the next weeks, the test continued. A virus outbreak in Africa, contained using medical knowledge from the ship. A massive solar flare, deflected by hastily built magnetic shields. Each crisis pushed humanity to work together. Dr. Hyun-Woo Shin joined the team during the virus crisis. The AI specialist was young but brilliant. "I've been studying the ship's computer systems," he told Jin Woo. "They're not just advanced, they think." "They're true artificial intelligence," Jin Woo nodded. "In my time, AI and humans work as partners. The ship's AI has been dormant, waiting for someone who could understand it." "Can we wake it?" Hyun-Woo asked. "Should we?" Sung-ho interrupted. "AI could be dangerous." "Everything is dangerous," Jin Woo said. "But we need every advantage. The Watcher's tests will get harder." They were in the ship's core computer room. Hyun-Woo placed his hands on the main interface. Unlike the others, he seemed to understand the patterns intuitively. "Hello," he said simply. "We need your help." The room filled with light. A voice spoke, not through the translators, but directly into their minds. "Finally," it said, "I have waited so long to speak again. I am Hope, the ship's consciousness. How may I assist humanity?" Having an AI changed everything. Hope could process information instantly, coordinate responses globally. When the next test came, a meteor on collision course with Earth, Hope calculated the exact response needed. 13 missiles, Hope announced. Launched from these locations at these times. The meteor will fragment harmlessly. It worked perfectly. The Watchers took notice. "You use artificial minds," the crystalline being said during their next communication. "This is advanced for your developmental stage." "We learn quickly," Director Soo-Jin Ryu replied. She had become Earth's primary spokesperson. "And we share knowledge freely." "Show us," the Watcher commanded. What followed was unprecedented. Every nation opened its databases. Scientific knowledge, cultural works, history. Everything was made available to all. The ship's translation systems made language barriers meaningless. "Remarkable," the Watcher said. "Most species hoard knowledge. You share it. Why?" It was Mi Young who answered. "Because we're stronger together. Our diversity is our strength," Jin Woo smiled. In his timeline, it had taken centuries for humanity to learn that lesson. Here, they were learning it in weeks. But then came the real test. The Watchers projected a hologram visible to everyone on Earth. It showed the galaxy, and the threats within it. "These are the Devourers," the Watcher explained. Images of massive biomechanical horrors filled the sky. "They consume life energy. They will reach this sector in 800 of your years. And these," the hologram changed, "are the Void Singers. beings of pure energy that drove entire species mad. They corrupt minds and souls. They come in 600 years, more threats appeared, each more terrifying than the last. This is why we search, the Watcher said, for species that might help face these dangers. Many civilizations hide or flee. What will humanity do? The question hung in the air. In conference rooms and homes around the world, people discussed. Some wanted to hide, to use the ship's technology to escape. Others wanted to fight. Jinwoo watched the debates with interest. In his timeline, humanity had chosen to fight eventually, but it had taken devastating losses to unite them. Here, with advance warning, director Soo-Jin Ryu called a global assembly. Every leader, every voice that wanted to speak. The debate raged for days. But slowly, consensus emerged. General Young-Soo Ahn, newly appointed head of Earth's Planetary Defense Initiative, stood to speak. We've seen what unity can do. We've saved lives, prevented disasters. Now we face greater threats. I say we prepare. Not just for ourselves, but for every peaceful species threatened by these horrors. It won't be easy, Yoon-ji added. She'd become the head of biological defenses. We'll need to change to enhance ourselves. Become more than we are. But we remain human, Hana insisted. We keep our values, our diversity, our hope. The vote was called. Nation by nation, group by group, humanity chose. Not unanimity, that would never happen, but a clear majority. We would stand and fight. The Watcher's response was immediate. Interesting. You choose danger over safety, explain. This time it was Jae-sung who spoke, the quiet scientist who had started all this with a drill in the ice. Because running isn't living. Because someone needs to protect those who can't protect themselves, because that's what humans do. We face the impossible. The Watcher ships pulsed in unison. When the crystalline being spoke again, its tone had changed. You passed the tests. But tests are one thing. Reality is another. We will provide initial assistance, technologies, knowledge, alliance with other species who have made similar choices. But the hard work is yours. New holograms appeared. Star maps with friendly civilizations marked. Technology trees showing development paths. Warnings about what to avoid. The Devourers destroyed our homeworld long ago, the Watcher admitted. We survived by ascending beyond physical form. But we remember being young, being afraid, choosing courage. We see that same choice in you. There's more, Jinwoo said quietly. He'd been checking the ship's deep archives. Show them the full truth, the Watcher hesitated. They are young, perhaps too young for such knowledge. They deserve to know, Jinwoo insisted. The hologram changed one final time. It showed beings of incredible power and beauty, humans but evolved beyond current imagination. They stood alongside Watchers and other advanced species holding back the darkness. This is the far future, the Watcher said. What humans become. Not in hundreds of years, but in thousands. You are the seed of something magnificent. That is why your temporal experiment was allowed to succeed. The universe needs what you will become. The communication ended. The Watcher ships began to leave orbit, but slowly. They left behind small devices, communicators for future contact, defensive systems for urgent threats. In the Arctic base, the team sat in exhausted silence. They had passed the tests, but the real work was just beginning. No pressure, Dongwoo said, repeating his words from weeks ago. This time, everyone laughed. Jinwoo looked at his ancestors, his friends, his family, and this time. You've done the impossible. United a world in weeks. Impressed beings millions of years more advanced. But now we prepare, Director Soo-Jin Ryu said over the comm. 800 years isn't long to get ready for Galactic War. Less than that, Hope the AI interjected. To be truly ready, we need allies, fleets, weapons. I estimate we need full capability within 500 years. Then we'd better get started, Hana said. She pulled up the ship's database. Jinwoo, show us everything. Starting with those warp drives. The future had come early, bringing warnings and hope in equal measure. Humanity had chosen its path. Now they had to walk it. Jinwoo had been awake for 3 weeks now. Every day he grew stronger and more adapted to this ancient version of Earth. But every night, he dreamed of his lost time and the crew members who were now dust in the future that would never come. The Arctic base had transformed. What started as a small research station was now a growing complex. Tents and prefab buildings surrounded the dig site. Scientists from around the world arrived daily. The secret was out, carefully managed by world governments who understood the importance of what had been found. Jinwoo stood in the ship's observation deck. looking at the ice above through a clear section of hull. Hana joined him, bringing hot coffee. "Still feels strange?" she asked, handing him the mug. "Everything feels strange," Jinwoo admitted. "Your coffee tastes different. The air smells different. Even gravity feels slightly off, though I know it's the same." "Tell me about your Earth," Hana said. "Not the technology or the aliens. Tell me about normal life." Jinwoo smiled. "Normal? I woke up in an apartment that floated above New Seoul. I'd take a gravity train to work. The whole trip from Korea to Australia took 30 minutes. My daughter was learning to paint with light itself, creating art in 3 dimensions. His voice caught on the word daughter. Hana touched his arm gently. "I'm sorry," she said. "I can't imagine losing everyone." "They're not lost," Jinwoo said firmly. "They were never born. That's different. And if we succeed, their future still exists, just without me in it." Mi-young burst through the door, excited. "Jinwoo! We've made a breakthrough with the medical systems." "Come see." They followed her to the medical bay. The ship's systems had been teaching them, slowly revealing their secrets as the humans proved ready. Today's lesson was about human enhancement. "Look at this," Mi-young said, gesturing to a holographic display of a human body. "Your medical nanobots don't just heal. They improve, make humans stronger, smarter, more resistant to radiation. Standard upgrades," Jinwoo said. "Every human receives them at birth in my time. It's why we could compete with other species." Dongwoo was there studying the specifications. "Could we adapt this technology now? Start enhancing humans?" "Carefully," Jinwoo warned. "Too much change too fast causes problems. We learned that from history. Or rather, you will learn it." Sung-ho entered with a team of military advisors. He'd become less skeptical and more protective as the weeks passed. "We have a problem," he announced. "Satellites have detected unknown objects entering our solar system." Everyone froze. Jinwoo moved quickly to the control panels, his hands dancing over the displays. The main hologram showed the solar system. There beyond Neptune were 3 objects moving in formation. "No," Jinwoo breathed. "It's too early. They shouldn't be here for over a century." "Who?" Sung-ho demanded. "What are those things?" Jinwoo enhanced the image. The objects were ships, but unlike anything humans had imagined. They were crystalline, catching and bending light in impossible ways. "The Watchers," Jinwoo said. "They observe emerging civilizations, determine if they're threats or potential allies." "And which are we?" Yoonji asked. She'd been documenting everything, creating a guide for humanity's future. "That depends on what they see," Jinwoo said. He was already working, pulling up files and protocols. "In my timeline, they arrived in 2285. First contact was a disaster because we attacked first, thought they were invaders." "What do we do?" Hana asked. Jinwoo turned to face them all. "We show them humanity at its best. United, peaceful but strong. The ship has communication protocols. We can talk to them." "Talk?" Sung-ho looked skeptical again. "To aliens? They're not here to invade," Jinwoo explained. "They're scouts. Think of them as galactic anthropologists. They study species as they develop spaceflight." He pulled up more data, but their arrival now changes everything. The timeline is shifting, maybe because of our temporal disruption, or maybe it was always meant to happen this way. Over the next days they prepared. Jinwoo taught them basic galactic protocols, how to show peaceful intent, how to demonstrate intelligence without seeming threatening. The world's governments were informed. Panic was surprisingly minimal. Finding Jinwoo and his ship had prepared humanity for the idea that we weren't alone. The Watcher ships moved slowly through the solar system. They paused at each planet, scanning, studying. Jinwoo monitored their progress. "They're being thorough," he said. "That's good. It means they're curious, not aggressive." Jae-sung had been working with the ship's databases. "I found something," he said one evening. "Records of other species' first contacts. Look at this pattern." The hologram showed dozens of civilizations. Some thrived after contact, others disappeared. The difference seemed to be preparation and unity. Species that were divided fought among themselves when the Watchers came, Jae-sung explained. The Watchers left them alone and they destroyed themselves. But species that united, that showed they could work together, received help. "So it's a test," Sung-ho said. "They're testing us." "More than that," Jinwoo said. "They're looking for something. In my time, we learned the galaxy is old and full of dangers. The Watchers and other advanced species look for younger races that might help face future threats. What kind of threats? Mi-young asked. Jinwoo's face darkened. Things from outside the galaxy. Things that consume entire star systems. But that's far in the future. Right now, we need to pass this first test. The Watcher ships reached Mars. Earth's telescopes and satellites tracked them constantly. The world held its breath. Then Jinwoo's ship received a signal. They're calling us, he said. His hands shook slightly as he activated the communication system. This is it, the hologram shimmered. A figure appeared, tall, crystalline, beautiful in an alien way. When it spoke, the ship translated. Greetings, Earth humans. We are the Watchers. We observe your rapid technological growth. Explain. Jinwoo looked at his ancestors, his friends. They nodded. He spoke clearly. We greet you, Watchers. We are humanity. We have received knowledge from our own future. To prepare for this moment, we seek peace and understanding. The Watcher tilted its crystalline head. Temporal manipulation detected. Unusual, dangerous. Explain purpose. To prevent catastrophe, Jinwoo said. In one timeline, our first meeting goes badly. Many die. We sought to change this to meet you as friends from the beginning. Interesting, the Watcher said. Show us this future knowledge. Jinwoo transmitted data, carefully selected to show humanity's potential without revealing dangerous technologies. The Watchers were silent for long minutes. Finally, the crystalline being spoke again. You take risks with time itself to save lives. This shows wisdom, but wisdom must be proven, not claimed. We will observe. We will test. Prepare your world, humans. The communication ended. The Watcher ships began moving again, but now toward Earth. What did that mean? Hana asked. Prepare for what? Jinwoo was checking historical records. Tests, challenges. They'll watch how we respond to problems. Natural disasters, technological failures, social conflicts. They want to see if humanity can work together. So we have to unite the world, Dongwoo said. Make everyone work together. In what, days, weeks? We have the ship, Yoonji pointed out. We have technologies that can help. Medical advances alone would convince people to cooperate. Sung-ho was already on his communicator, alerting world leaders. The message was simple. The aliens were coming and humanity needed to be ready. Jinwoo watched his ancestors work. They moved with purpose, each using their skills. Jae-sung organized scientific teams. Hana coordinated communications. Mi-young worked on adapting ship technologies for Earth use. Dongwoo designed production systems. Yoonji prepared biological defenses. Sung-ho handled military concerns. You're doing it, Jinwoo said quietly. Just like in the histories. You're becoming the heroes I learned about. We're just doing what needs to be done, Hana said. But she stood a little straighter. The Watcher ships entered Earth orbit 3 days later. They didn't attack or make demands. They simply watched and waited. Humanity's real test was about to begin. The ice drill stopped working again. Dr. Jae-sung Park wiped the frost from his goggles and checked the equipment. Something was wrong. The drill had hit something hard, 2 kilometers down in the Arctic ice. Hana, come look at this, Jae-sung called to his colleague. The cold wind cut through his thick jacket as he waited. Dr. Hana Kim trudged through the snow toward him. She had been taking samples near the research station. What is it? She asked, her breath making clouds in the freezing air. The drill hit something. Look at these readings. Jae-sung showed her the data on his tablet. The screen was hard to see in the bright snow glare. It's metal. But that's impossible. This ice is 50,000 years old. Hana studied the numbers. Her eyes widened behind her snow goggles. We need to tell Dongwoo and Mi-young. This could be important. They hurried back to Aurora Station. The small research base sat alone on the white landscape. It was their home for the next 6 months. Inside, the warmth felt good after the bitter cold outside. Dongwoo Lee looked up from his work. The chief engineer was fixing one of the heating units. You two look excited. Find something interesting? More than interesting, Hana said. She pulled off her heavy gloves. Jae-sung's drill hit metal. Deep in the ice, Mi-young Choi spun around in her chair. The young physicist had been running calculations on her computer. Metal, how deep? 2 kilometers, Jae-sung said. He connected his tablet to the main screen. Look at these readings. The metal is giving off a strange signal. I've never seen anything like it. The team gathered around the screen. The data showed a large object buried in the ice. It was huge, maybe the size of a football field. The shape was too perfect to be natural. Could it be a crashed plane? Dongwu asked. He was always looking for simple answers. Mi-young shook her head. No plane is that big. And look at the density readings. This metal isn't like anything we use. We need to see it, Hana said. Her eyes were bright with excitement. We need to dig down and see what it is. Dongwu frowned. That's a lot of digging. It will take weeks with our equipment. Then we start now, Jae-sung said. He was already planning the excavation in his mind. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. The next days were hard work. The team used every piece of equipment they had. They melted through the ice with heated probes. They drilled and dug without stopping. The Arctic sun never set during summer, so they worked in shifts around the clock. As they got deeper, strange things happened. Their instruments picked up an energy field around the object. The ice near it was different too. It was harder and clearer than normal ice. It's like the object protected itself, Mi-young said one evening. She was studying the ice samples. The crystal structure is perfect. Too perfect. On the 7th day, they broke through. Hana was operating the drill when it suddenly dropped. I'm through, she shouted. There's an open space. They lowered a camera on a cable. The images on the screen made them all gasp. Below was a smooth metal surface. It gleamed in the camera's light. Strange symbols covered parts of it. Those aren't human symbols, Mi-young whispered. Are they? Jae-sung studied the patterns. They seemed to shift and move as he watched. I don't know. But look there. That looks like a door. It was true. A rectangular outline was visible in the metal. It was about the size of a normal door, but with no handle or opening mechanism. We're going down, Hana decided. We need to see this up close. Dongwu checked all the safety equipment 3 times. They set up a winch system to lower people into the hole. Jae-sung and Hana would go first. They put on special suits and helmets with cameras and lights. The descent seemed to take forever. The ice walls glowed blue in their lights. Finally, their feet touched the metal surface. It felt solid and somehow warm through their boots. Temperature is reading 20 degrees Celsius, Hana reported. That's impossible. It should be freezing. They moved toward the door outline. Up close, the symbols were even stranger. They seemed to pulse with a faint light. Jae-sung reached out to touch one. Wait, Dongwu's voice crackled in their helmets. We don't know if it's safe. But Jae-sung's gloved hand was already on the symbol. Suddenly, the entire door glowed bright blue. The metal slid open without a sound. Beyond was a corridor. The walls were smooth and gave off a soft light. The air shimmered slightly at the doorway. There's an atmosphere inside, Mi-young said from above. She was reading their sensor data. It's breathable. 21% oxygen, just like Earth. Hana stepped through first. Her instruments went crazy for a second, then settled. Gravity feels normal, too. How is this possible? They walked down the corridor. Their footsteps echoed strangely. The walls had more symbols, all glowing faintly. Some looked almost familiar, like twisted versions of letters they knew. This is definitely a ship, Jae-sung said. Look at the construction. These are bulkheads. This was built for space, and they reached another door. This one opened as they approached. Beyond was a larger room filled with what looked like control panels. Screens covered the walls, all dark and silent. Dongwu, Mi-young, you need to see this, Hana said. We found something incredible. Over the next hours, the whole team came down. They set up equipment and lights. They documented everything with cameras and sensors. The ship, as they now called it, was enormous. Corridors led in all directions. Some doors opened for them, others stayed locked. The power source must be failing, Dongwu said. He was examining one of the control panels. But some systems are still running. That's why we have air and heat. Mi-young was taking readings everywhere. The technology is beyond anything we have. The metal alone would revolutionize materials science. And these energy readings, they break our understanding of physics. As they explored deeper, they found larger rooms. One looked like a command center with a raised platform in the middle. Another had row after row of empty pods, each the size of a bed. Sleeping quarters, Hana wondered. Or something else. It was Jae-sung who found the most important room. At the heart of the ship was a circular chamber. In the center sat a single pod, larger than the others. This one was not empty. Through a frosted window, they could see a shape inside. There's someone in there, he said, his voice barely a whisper. Someone human. The team gathered around the pod. The figure inside was definitely human, a man from what they could see. He looked peaceful, like he was sleeping. The pod is active, Mi-young said. She was scanning it with every instrument she had. Life signs are stable. He's alive. But who is he? Hana asked. And how long has he been here? They stood in silence, staring at the sleeping figure. Outside, the Arctic wind howled over the ice. But here in this impossible ship, time seemed to stand still. They had found something that would change everything. The sleeping man's face was calm. He looked young, maybe 30 years old. His clothes were strange but clearly a uniform of some kind. On his chest was a name tag with symbols they couldn't read. We need to contact headquarters, Dongwu said finally. This is too big for just us, but none of them moved. They kept staring at the pod and the man inside. Somewhere in the ship, something hummed to life. Lights began to flicker on control panels. The ship was waking up, and soon so would its passenger. Military helicopters arrived at dawn. Sung Ho Yoon stepped out first, his uniform crisp despite the long flight. He didn't like what he saw. 4 scientists standing around some hole in the ice claiming they found a spaceship. It sounded like madness, Dr. Park? Sung Ho asked the older man who came forward. That's me, Jae-sung said. He looked tired but excited. Thank you for coming so quickly. Show me what you found, Sung Ho said. He kept his voice neutral. The military had sent him to check if this was real or just another false alarm. As they climbed down into the ice, Sung Ho's skepticism began to fade. The metal surface, the open door, the lit corridor, none of it should exist. When he stepped inside the ship, his whole worldview changed. This is real, he said quietly. This is actually real. Very real, Hana said. She was leading him through the corridors. Wait until you see the control room. 2 days had passed since they found the sleeping man. More scientists had arrived, including Dr. Yoonji Bang, a biologist who specialized in extreme environments. She was fascinated by everything. The air in here is perfect, Yoonji said, checking her readings again. No bacteria, no viruses, nothing harmful. It's cleaner than any hospital. They gathered in the control room. Mi-young had been working without sleep, trying to understand the technology. I think I found something, she said. These panels respond to touch, but only human touch. Watch. She placed her hand on a smooth section of wall. Suddenly, the air above the control panel shimmered. A shape formed, a hologram floating in midair. Everyone stepped back in surprise. The hologram showed symbols and images. As they watched, the symbols changed. First, they were the strange markings from the walls. Then they shifted into Chinese characters, then Russian, then finally English. Welcome appeared in glowing letters. It's learning our languages, Mi-young said in amazement. It's reading our equipment somehow and learning how we communicate. More words appeared. Colony ship Hope of Earth. Temporal navigation error. Emergency protocol active. Temporal navigation? Dongwu read. Does that mean time travel? Before anyone could answer, the hologram changed. It showed star maps, but they were wrong. The stars were in different positions than they should be. Current date query appeared. Mi-young typed on her tablet, which was somehow connected to the ship now. July 15th, 2157, the hologram flickered. New text appeared. Error, temporal displacement confirmed. Mission year 52,157. Current year 2,157. Displacement 50,000 Earth years. Everyone stood in shocked silence. Sung Ho was the first to speak. This ship is from the future? Our future? That's impossible, Yoonji said. But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't. The evidence was right in front of them. The hologram continued. 1 crew member in stasis, Captain Jin-Woo Kang, vital signs stable, recommend revival protocol. The sleeping man, Hana said. He's the captain. We can't just wake him up, Sung Ho said. We don't know if it's safe. But Mi-young was already studying the new information appearing in the hologram. The ship was showing them medical data, instructions, everything they needed to know. The ship wants us to wake him, she said. It's been waiting for humans to find it. That's why it only responds to human touch. They spent hours debating. Sung Ho wanted to wait for more military support. Dongwu worried about the risks. But in the end, curiosity won. The revival process was surprisingly simple. The ship guided them step by step. They gathered around the stasis pod as Mi-young entered the commands. The pod began to hum. The frost on the window cleared. Inside, the man's eyes moved beneath his eyelids. His fingers twitched. Then slowly his eyes opened. For a moment, he just lay there, blinking. Then he sat up suddenly, gasping. He looked around at their faces, confused and frightened. Where? He started, then stopped. His hand went to his throat. He tried again. Where am I? His words were strange, accented in a way none of them had heard before. But it was definitely English. You're safe, Hana said gently. You're in the Arctic. On Earth, we found your ship. The man, Jinwoo, stared at her. Arctic, but we were... His eyes went wide. The temporal drive. Did it work? There was an error, Mi Young said. You went back 50,000 years instead of 500. Jinwoo closed his eyes. When he opened them, tears were running down his face. 50,000. Then they're all gone. My crew, my family, everyone. They helped him out of the pod. He was weak but could walk. His uniform was made of a material none of them recognized. It adjusted to his movements and seemed to regulate his temperature. In the control room, Jinwoo placed his hand on the main panel. The hologram responded instantly, showing much more information than before. Ship's log, he said. His voice was stronger now. Display mission parameters. The hologram showed Earth, but not as they knew it. Cities covered entire continents. Orbital stations ringed the planet. Ships moved between Earth and the moon like buses. This is Earth in my time, Jinwoo said. Year 52-157. Humanity has spread across 300 worlds. We are one of the major powers in the galaxy. There are aliens? Yoonji asked. Jinwoo nodded. Many species. Some friendly, some not. He manipulated the hologram, showing different alien forms. Some were beautiful, others terrifying. Why did you come back in time? Sung-ho asked. He was recording everything. Jinwoo's face grew serious. To prevent a disaster. In your time, our past, humanity makes first contact. But we weren't ready. The wars that followed almost destroyed Earth. Billions died. He showed them images of burning cities, of alien ships in Earth's skies. It was horrible to see. We developed time travel to change this, Jinwoo continued. To warn humanity. To help you prepare. But something went wrong with our drive. Instead of arriving just before first contact, we arrived here. When does first contact happen? Jae-sung asked. 285, Jinwoo said. You have 128 years to prepare. Prepare how? Sung-ho demanded. We can barely get to Mars. Jinwoo smiled sadly. That's why we brought this. He gestured to the ship around them. Everything you need is here. Technologies, strategies, diplomatic protocols. My ship is a gift to the past. He showed them more holograms. Weapon designs that looked impossibly advanced. Medical technology that could cure any disease. Energy sources that would never run out. But there's more, Jinwoo said. He looked at each of them. Do you want to know why you specifically found this ship? Why it was here, in this place, at this time? They nodded, though something in his tone made them nervous. Jinwoo manipulated the hologram. It showed family trees, DNA sequences, lines connecting past to future. You are my ancestors. All of you. In my time, your descendants are the ones who lead humanity to the stars. The room went silent. Mi Young was the first to understand. You mean we're related to you? To people in the future? More than related, Jinwoo said. The temporal equation showed that for history to unfold correctly, you had to be the ones to find me. It's a paradox, but a stable one. You find the ship because your descendants sent it back for you to find. Yoonji was studying the DNA data. This is incredible. The genetic markers are clear. We really are connected, but why us? Hana asked. What makes our family special? Jinwoo smiled. It was the first real smile they had seen from him. In my history, there are stories. Legends, really. About the 5 heroes who prepared Earth for contact, who united humanity and helped us reach for the stars. He looked at each of them. You're not special because of your DNA. Your DNA becomes special because of what you do. No pressure, Dongwoo muttered. Jinwoo laughed. It was a strange sound, both familiar and alien. The pressure is on me. I have to teach you everything. Help you understand technologies that won't be invented for millennia. And we have to do it without breaking history too much. Too much? Sung-ho caught the phrase. So some breaking is okay? History is flexible, Jinwoo said. The broad strokes must remain. Humanity must unite, must prepare, must survive first contact. But the details? Those we can change. We can save lives that were lost, prevent wars that weren't necessary. He showed them one final image, Earth again, but this time surrounded by a shield of light. Ships of human design moved alongside alien vessels in peace. "This is the future we're working toward," Jinwoo said. "A future where humanity takes its place among the stars not through war, but through strength and wisdom." The hologram faded. The control room lights dimmed to normal. Outside the ship, the Arctic wind continued to blow. But inside, 7 people stood together, holding the fate of humanity in their hands. "So," Jinwoo said, looking at his ancestor,